Imagine waking up tomorrow, not in your own bed, not with your family, but inside a brutal military camp where every mistake earns punishment, every meal must be earned, and every day is a fight to prove you deserve to live. Now imagine that life begins when you're only 7 years old. This wasn't a nightmare. It was childhood in ancient Sparta. No civilization in history produced warriors more feared than the Spartans. Kings respected them. Empires avoided them. Enemies prayed they would never have to face them. But what transformed ordinary boys into men who could stare death in the face without blinking? It wasn't their muscles. It wasn't their weapons. And it wasn't because they were born fearless. Their greatest weapon was something invisible, a mindset so powerful that more than 2,500 years later, people are still trying to understand it. Stay with me, because the final lesson reveals the one Spartan secret that modern society has almost forgotten. Long before swords clashed, the battle had already begun. Inside the minds of Sparta's enemies. Imagine standing on a battlefield. Dust fills the air. Your heart pounds against your chest. Then, across the field, you hear it. Not screaming. Not chaos. Silence. Hundreds of Spartan warriors marching in perfect rhythm. Shield against shield. Step after step. Not rushing. Not hesitating. Completely calm. To most armies, that silence was more terrifying than any battle cry. Because truly dangerous people don't need to announce their strength. They simply demonstrate it. But here's what most movies never tell you. That confidence wasn't created on the battlefield. It was forged years before they ever carried a spear. At 7 years old, while most children were learning to read and play, Spartan boys entered the Agoge, the most ruthless military training system of the ancient world. From that moment, childhood was over. They left their families behind. Comfort disappeared. Luxury didn't exist. Every day became another test. Food was deliberately scarce. Not because Sparta couldn't provide it, but because hunger taught resourcefulness. The boys were encouraged to steal food. If they succeeded, they were praised for their skill. If they got caught, they were punished. Not for stealing. For failing. Think about that. Sparta wasn't rewarding theft. It was rewarding competence. Every hardship had a purpose. Cold nights built endurance. Empty stomachs built resilience. Pain built emotional control. Failure built adaptability. Nothing was wasted. Everything became training. Now ask yourself. How many people today quit the moment life becomes uncomfortable? One rejection. One setback. One difficult conversation. And they give up. The Spartans expected hardship. They welcomed it. Because they believed comfort creates weakness, but struggle creates strength. Now imagine living that way for your entire childhood. No phone. No entertainment. No comfort. Only discipline. And yet, that wasn't even their hardest lesson. Most people believe the Spartans' greatest weapon was their sword. History tells a different story. Their deadliest weapon was discipline. Before sunrise, they trained. After sunrise, they trained. When the day ended, they trained even more. The same movements. The same drills. Again. And again. And again. Until thinking disappeared. And instinct took over. When arrows darkened the sky, there was no time to think. Their bodies already knew what to do. Modern life teaches people to wait for motivation. The Spartans ignored motivation completely. Because motivation fades. Discipline remains. They understood one truth that still applies today. The day you don't feel like doing the work is the day the work matters most. One young Spartan once complained about the endless training. His instructor looked at him and said only one sentence. The enemy won't care how you feel. No speech. No lecture. Just the truth. Your feelings are temporary. Your habits determine your future. That's why discipline became stronger than talent. Stronger than courage. Even stronger than fear. But discipline alone wasn't enough. There was another reason entire armies feared Sparta. They fought as one. Most armies relied on individual heroes. The Spartans relied on each other. Their shield wasn't designed mainly to protect the man holding it. It protected the warrior standing beside him. That changed everything. If one soldier panicked, the line weakened. If one man ran, everyone became vulnerable. So every Spartan learned that your strength means very little if you fail the people depending on you. Trust wasn't optional. It was survival. During one battle, a wounded Spartan refused to leave the line. Not because he wasn't in pain. But because stepping away would expose the warrior beside him. Imagine that level of loyalty. Imagine facing an entire wall of shields moving toward you. No panic. No hesitation. No gaps. Just relentless discipline. How do you defeat people who refuse to abandon one another? Most armies never found the answer. But then, an even greater challenge appeared. One so overwhelming that it would test everything Sparta believed. And it's the reason the Spartan name became immortal. If you're still watching, you're exactly the kind of person this channel was built for. Subscribe to Warrior Mindset, and tell me in the comments. Which Spartan quality do you admire the most? Discipline. Courage. Or loyalty? Because in the next part, we're about to uncover the battle that made Sparta legendary, and the mindset that terrified an empire. The training was complete. The discipline had been forged. The warriors were ready. But one question remained. Would everything they had sacrificed actually matter when they faced a real enemy? The answer came in 480 BC. At a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. This wasn't just another battle. It was a moment that would shape history forever. The Persian Empire was the most powerful force on earth. Its king, Xerxes, ruled over vast lands and commanded an army so enormous that many believed no nation could stand against it. Cities surrendered before the Persians even arrived. Kings bowed. Entire nations accepted defeat without a fight. Then Persia reached Greece. Standing in its path were just 300 Spartan warriors. Led by King Leonidas. Think about that. 300 men. Against an empire. By every logical measure, they had already lost. But Leonidas understood something his enemies never did. Victory isn't always about surviving. Sometimes. Victory is about giving others the chance to survive. The Spartans knew they couldn't destroy the Persian army. Their mission was something greater. To delay the invasion. To buy time for the rest of Greece to unite. To prove that courage could stand against overwhelming odds. Before the battle began, King Xerxes sent a message. Lay down your weapons. Surrender. And you will live. Most armies would have accepted. Most kings would have negotiated. But Leonidas answered with 4 words that would echo through history. Come and take them. No anger. No shouting. No fear. Just absolute confidence. Imagine hearing those words from men you outnumbered hundreds of times over. At that moment, something changed. The battle hadn't even started. Yet the psychological war was already shifting. Here's something most people misunderstand. The Spartans weren't fearless because they believed they couldn't die. They were fearless because they had already accepted that they might. And once a person accepts the possibility of failure, the fear of failure loses its power. That's a lesson far beyond the battlefield. How many dreams never become reality because people are afraid to fail? How many opportunities disappear because someone waits for the perfect moment? The Spartans understood that waiting rarely changes the outcome. Action does. As the Persian army advanced, arrows filled the sky. The clash of metal echoed through the mountain pass. Wave after wave of soldiers charged forward. Again. And again. And again. But the Spartan line refused to break. Every warrior trusted the man beside him. Every shield locked into place. Every step was deliberate. Every movement was controlled. The Persians had greater numbers. The Spartans had greater discipline. And for days, that discipline held back an empire. But eventually, everything changed. A local man betrayed the Greeks and revealed a hidden mountain path. The Persian army moved behind the Spartan position. Leonidas now faced an impossible choice. Retreat. Or stand and fight. He chose to stay. Not because he expected to win. But because he understood that some sacrifices inspire generations. Leonidas dismissed many of the allied soldiers, giving them a chance to escape. He and his Spartans remained behind. They fought until their spears shattered. When their spears broke, they drew their swords. When their swords were lost, they fought with whatever remained. Even when defeat became inevitable, their determination never disappeared. That is why the Battle of Thermopylae became legendary. Not because 300 men defeated an empire. They didn't. They became legends because they refused to surrender their principles. History remembers victories. But it never forgets courage. Thousands of years have passed since that battle. The Spartan Empire is gone. Their cities changed. Their armies disappeared. But their mindset survived. Why? Because discipline never goes out of style. Courage never becomes outdated. Self-control never loses its value. The battlefield may look different today. You may never carry a shield into combat. But every morning, life asks you the same questions. Will you wake up when the alarm rings? Or hit snooze? Will you keep your promises? Or make another excuse? Will you face your fears? Or let your fears control you? These are the battles that define modern warriors. The Spartans teach us that greatness isn't built in moments of comfort. It's built in moments when quitting seems easier. When nobody is watching. When no applause is waiting. When the only person you have to defeat is yourself. Think about the strongest people you know. Chances are, they didn't become strong because life was easy. They became strong because they kept moving when life became difficult. That's exactly what Sparta understood. Every hardship was an opportunity. Every setback was another lesson. Every challenge was another chance to become stronger. The real Spartan legacy isn't about ancient weapons. It's about mastering yourself. Your habits. Your emotions. Your decisions. Because once you control your mind, very little in this world can control you. So the next time life feels unfair, the next time you're tempted to quit, remember the 300. Remember the boys who became warriors through relentless discipline. Remember the men who stood their ground when the world expected them to run. And most importantly, remember this. Your greatest enemy isn't the obstacle standing in front of you. It's the voice inside your head telling you to give up. Silence that voice. And you'll discover a strength you never knew existed. If this story inspired you, don't let the lesson end here. Subscribe to Warrior Mindset for more powerful stories from history that will help you build discipline, resilience, and an unbreakable mindset. And now I want to hear from you. If you could adopt just one Spartan trait starting today, which would you choose? Discipline, courage, or unwavering loyalty? Leave your answer in the comments. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay relentless, and remember, The most dangerous warrior is the one who has already conquered himself.